Hello there, welcome to News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. In our headlines this hour, stakeholders ask government to intensify fight against illegal mining. Also, more survivors of the Tuesday morning road crash at Gomwa Otrekun continue to share details of the accident. We've got details of these plus business in this package. Please stay for details. Thanks for your company. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Let's get to the details now. Illegal miners have taken over River Tano in a renewed onslaught on the already polluted water source, despite a recent crackdown on irresponsible mining. And this is happening close to Samraboy in the western region. The Environmental Protection Agency has revealed disturbing levels of mercury concentration in the Samraboy catch point of the river. Let's watch Erastus Sasaridonko's report and then we'll hear more from stakeholders.
Love News in 2022 captured Akunta Mining Limited and other illegal miners polluting the Tano River at Samraboy in the western region. We uncovered irresponsible mining polluting the Tano at various points in communities like Atala, Ohiampenika and Datano sections of the river. A year after producing the Distraction for Gold documentary, we went back to Samraboy to gauge the situation on the ground. The miners have abandoned posts and left behind deep pits and gullies they created along the Tano River. Ofusua Sare Samuel is the assembly member for the Mumuni electoral area.
After your last documentary, those that they were in operation, they left the community or they left the site. They are no more here or destroying the land.
But our tour of the adjoining villages along the Tano revealed disturbing pictures of direct active mining in the Tano River with residues directed into the Tano. Shamfan operators and illegal miners currently sit on the river at various points. These Chinese miners were spotted at Boya, a farming community, driving the excavators and operating the mine themselves, contrary to mining regulations.
This is purely illegal. There is no buffer between the Tano River and what they are doing. And if you see in the distance, there is a washing bay sitting at the edge of the tunnel, washing directly into the river. This is purely criminal.
Close to the airstrip at Samraboy, these two Chinese nationals were found operating this mine, which seems to be violating the government's buffer zone policy for mining close to major water bodies like the Tano River. They told me the site belongs to Akunta Mining Limited.
You go drop me bojo. This side, Akunta people. Yeah.
Officials of Akunta Mining will not respond to the claims. The devastated Atala, Ohiampenika and Datano lands fall into the concession of Unipower Mining Company Limited. But even before Unipower could complete its licensing processes to start mining, large parts of its concession have been invaded by illegal miners. David Thompson is Corporate Affairs Manager.
Whilst we acquired it, over a period of time, illegal miners started to come onto the concession. We tried to engage them in a cordial manner to try and say, hey gentlemen, this is illegal mining. We didn't really get too far in that negotiation. Therefore, we informed the Mineral Commission. So we engaged the military to remove them. They were removed, and then subsequently they've started to come back again.
David speaks of the dangers of mining in the River Tano, calling for urgent steps to control the practice.
Any activity on any of the rivers, straight away, it's like, surely, people, please, this is going nowhere for you. You're going to make a quick buck. How long is it going to last? But the decimation, the catastrophe that you're leaving behind is shocking. The poisons, the colours of the water, the local indigenous people who wash their clothes from that river, who are drinking and using to cook their food from that river. I mean, it's a travesty. And I really believe that should stop an awful lot of the illegal mining on the rivers immediately.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Atala, Ohiam Pernika, Samraboy, Western Region.
Now, the executive director of the Ghana Environmental Advocacy Group, Elizabeth Var, believes government hasn't done enough to end Galamsey. She spoke to Benjamin Akapo earlier on the AM show.
This Galamsey, this mining problem that we have in this country is an existential threat. Some of the communities right now are they are on the verge of collapse. We are seeing children being born with deformities. You want to really let it be said that during your time, this moved from just being in the textbooks to actually happening on the ground in Ghana? You have to set the example with Chairman Wontumi and all those people around you, your DCEs who are themselves contractors on the ground. The Minerals Commission, you go to their website right now, and almost every community in the southern part of Ghana, and most also in some parts of the northern region, have been partitioned out and given out to people. People who have no track record to show that when they mine ABC, they reclaim it. Alluvial mining in Ghana right now has become more of a deficit rather than a profit. So let's put a stop to it and stand your ground, man. You've got the power, use it, and stop going to declassify forest reserves and signing instruments that say that a globally significant resource can be mined. I mean, you haven't even been able to get a handle on what is affecting us right now. You want to go and touch globally significant reserves and resources. You are supposed to be in charge of some climate change, whatever. Look, when it comes to the emissions and stuff, let the white people, let the Western world deal with it. We are talking about bread and butter. Rivers that are polluted, it is worse than somebody taking a plane and therefore causing CO2 emissions.
Let's expand the conversation. Let's get on to Zoom and speak with Dr. Abdul Wadud Mumin. He's with the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Thank you for your time this morning, sir. So clearly, it appears all the effort is going down the drain. I say this with reference to Erastus Asaredonko's report we played earlier to start the conversation. We've been at this fight for a very long time. Quite recently, we heard of the Akonta mining issue. We had the president's response on it, response to that. We've gone back onto the field, and there are allegations. We reached out to the company. We didn't get a response, but clearly it appears that this is almost a hopeless fight, because with every passing day, the problem keeps getting worse. What are your thoughts on this particular fight and what appears to be a losing battle? Hello, Doc? Hello, Doc? Kindly unmute your device for me, please. Right.
Yes, I've done that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Thank you for your time this morning. I want to start by taking your word that a hopeless fight. Let me urge you that we are not actually losing the fight. There's no loss of hope. there is a lot of hope and prospect in winning the fight against illegal mining. I would refer to the recommendations of the CEO of the Minerals Commission, Martin by last month. He was engaged by your studio, and he said that one strongest recommendation that he can give is punitive measures against whoever is arrested. If people could be arrested, prosecuted, and jailed, is one of the things. And we believe that moving on, the media is doing its part to contribute to the arrest, and what is left is the prosecution, and then the rest will come on board. So I would urge viewers and listeners that we are not actually embarked on a hopeless fight. We are making a headway. Gone are the days that we could not actually uncover or discover all these messes. Today we are covering them. So we are one step towards the solution and addressing the means.
Doc, did you say we are one step ahead? I mean, I asked this question because, and again, I made reference to Erastus's report. We create a policy. We even had an interministerial committee set up. We know what's happened with that recently with the Professor Frimpong Boateng report that was leaked. What is a different thing that's going to be done? What is giving you the hope that this time round is going to be a good fight?
Yes, the basis of my hope is that we did not have the knowledge that this was the amount of the magnitude of the mess that was going on. Now we have the knowledge. And we did not also have the knowledge that there were certain personalities who would do this with impunity. Now we have the knowledge. And once we have the knowledge, there is a what you call public class consciousness. We are getting to the public class consciousness where everybody has come to admit that this is disastrous, this is unsustainable, it's an affrontation to the future generations. And for that reason, we must act now. And we started the act. The media previously was not interested in this, but over the past 10 years, and this is where I actually commend Erastus, and together with other members of your media house and other media houses as well, you have done a lot to bring to the public all these measures that were actually not known. Since we know that, now even the politicians are also looking for culprits, but the next step that has to be done is the prosecution. And media has a lot of power and authority that can push whoever has the authority to prosecute to do that eventually. There is always a first step in the right direction. And we are taking the first step. We have taken several other steps. We haven't gotten to the destination where we have to give up. And we cannot throw our hands in despair and discourage and demoralize those who are doing stringent efforts to make sure that we get desired results. And I must tell you that we will get results.
Doc, on the prosecution bit, the Attorney General has urged courts across the country to impose stringent bail conditions on persons standing trial in illegal mining cases. And he complained about some people escaping after they were granted bail. He was looking into a case. We understand that since January 2021, 712 people are being prosecuted over illegal mining. We also heard from the former legal advisor to the Interministerial Committee, who also raised concerns about the prosecution. And I'm not sounding, I don't want to sound like a pessimist, but talk about the media. I have been sitting here doing this for at least about 5 years and counting. And I'm saying that the concern for many people is that academia supports, the media supports, but on the front of prosecution and the political will, that is where there seems to be a huge lack. You are saying that you get the signal that things would get better. And I mean, I just wonder what is giving you that hope. But besides that, we talk about the health implications. Doctors are beginning to notice, even in the bodies of dead people, traces of chemicals that are used in illegal mining. For many people, this fight will be fruitless if we do not deal with the issue of unemployment, if we do not deal with the issue of having sustainable ways of mining and introducing and compelling people to adhere to that. What are your thoughts on the other measures that must run side by side the fight against illegal mining to make it a success?
Thank you very much. Let me quickly touch on the prosecution aspect once more. I'm not a legal person, but I want to encourage you that apart from Parliament, the media is the second voice of the citizenry. And for that reason, the media have taken this aspect up. And that is why I'm very hopeful that do not relent in your effort. Your effort is going to yield the desired results very soon. And with the other regards to the other aspect, the levels of contamination have always been determined by scientists, and also the media have also covered a lot of that. The next step is to look for remediation approaches and strategies to get this water decontaminated from heavy metals and other pollutants. If you refer to the mining program we had, the small-scale mining program we had 2 weeks ago, a fortnight ago, there were a series of presentations, technical presentations that prepared solutions towards addressing this, and Erasmus have covered it extensively. And the three key approaches have been proposed out of the dialogue that we did 2 weeks ago. We have the mechanical efforts, we have the physical efforts, we also have the chemical efforts that can be used to remediate the contaminated water bodies and save lives and also save properties as well.
Finally, your quick thoughts on this. You work with the University of Energy and Natural Resources, and I'm just wondering what the university's contribution is to the fight against illegal mining. If there is anything that exists, if you don't mind sharing with us.
Thank you. So the first step the university takes to contribute to the illegal mining in Ghana is the annual transformational dialogue on small-scale mining, where we bring the stakeholders, relevant stakeholders, and the scientists together, including politicians, that we discuss and share ideas as to how this could be addressed. And we want to make the discussion consistent. We have identified that every time we hear public discussions on this, it is because of such clips that we are showing. There are emergencies and accidents that occur that we find the public discussing this. You have the politicians engaged in this. You have scientists engaged in this. But if we have psychologists have what they call the persistent breeds results, consistency also breeds results. If we are consistent in the discussions, every time we come out with ideas, we apply the ideas. The next year we come together again and evaluate the ideas and the approaches that we used in the previous year. What have been the outcoming results? If there are no results, then we have to improve upon. If there are results, how do you also maybe modify the results that can give us better results in the coming year? That was one step that the university takes. Then we have also engaged our scientists in research who are researching into various mechanisms that we can use to support government and the relevant regulatory agencies to remediate the contaminations that have taken place, and also to keep a monitoring eye. For instance, we have a satellite station which is called EORIC, the Air Force Aviation Research and Innovation Center, which has a central receiver that can be used to provide near real-time monitoring and management of the emergence of new activities, also the emergence of new contamination that takes place in river bodies, where if it is centralized in the university, we can always deploy security and also the media to actually uncover and take measures to remediate or to even mitigate the potential hazards that are looming. We also have this year introduced what we call MAP, Media Academia Partnership, with a MAP that the university has introduced and then also proposed to government to adopt and other non-governmental agencies to partner with us. We can do much more to address this issue. That is Media Academia Partnership, which is called MAP, and we can discuss the details later.
Before
like the Executive Director of the Media Pollution Against Illegal Mining in Ghana, Dr. Kenashige, who is with us and who has been the chair during the session. Erasmus has also been there, and we are brainstorming to come up with technical papers and technical ideas that the media, together with academia, including government and regulatory agencies, can work to contribute to addressing this issue. And this is one of the steps of the University of Energy and Natural Resources.
Before I let you go, Doc, there are suggestions that The legal battle must be taken to the doorstep of those who sponsor these people we see on the ground doing the hard work, because they're not the real ones funding and they're not the real ones behind the entire setup. And so people suggest going for the big names, the people who are associated with the companies, instead of picking these people up and rounding them up and taking them to the courts for prosecution. Your final thoughts on that as we wrap up the conversation?
That is quite appropriate. But how do you provide evidence? Because don't forget that the language spoken in the court is evidence. So I will first of all suggest that in order to provide the evidence, we should speak and work closely with the Ghana National Association of Muslim Minors. They know all of these people, and they have the evidence in their hands, and they can support them. Unfortunately, over the years, we have always neglected the role that the Ghana National Association of Muslim Minors can play in addressing this issue. Let me give you a quick example. The fiscal approach that I told you that during our Muslim mining dialogue 2 weeks ago was proposed by the Ghana National Association of Muslim Miners. And what did they do? They deployed men to their grounds, and if they caught anybody polluting the water out of small-scale mining, illegal mining, they arrested the people, and they gave us evidence of areas that they have policed and protected water bodies. And you get the previous features last year and last 2 years, and compare that to this year, you find that they have actually remediated the water bodies through the physical approach. And they know, since they arrest people who are caught polluting these water bodies, they know them, and they are able to dig and investigate to get the people who are financing these people to pollute the water bodies. Let's work closely. Let me urge the security agencies to work closely with the academic institutions as well as the Ghana National Association of Muslim Minors and the media. Then we can actually land on a very good platform for prosecution. And that should be public and not confidential.
Thank you for your time here this morning. Dr. Abdul Wadud Mumin is with the University of Energy and Natural Resources, and he's been sharing his thoughts on the back of our latest on illegal mining produced by Erastus Asaridonko. Away from illegal mining, more survivors of Tuesday morning's road crash at Gomwa Otreko on the Accra Cape Coast Highway have started sharing details of how a fuel tanker rammed into their car, killing some passengers, including a baby. It's still unclear the number of people who have died. The Winnipeg Municipal Fire Service Commander says 16 bodies were sent to the morgue. Other first responders also say 6 died on the spot. Maxwell Akbaba reports.
I am at the bus terminal where the driver of the U-turn bus was headed. Here, I've met an executive member of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Bob Hagan. He lost his friend, Clement Ejapon, and 2 others. He was at the morgue to see them. He says a dual carriageway for major highways is the solution to the many deaths on Ghana's roads.
The conductor is the one leading the car from Liberia to Ghana. So yesterday he called around 8 o'clock in the morning that he had a label. So when they go through with the custom processing, they decide to even rest for some time. So we are all expecting him latest this morning by even 8 o'clock. That is Clement Japan's body. One leg, one hand, the body has been divided into 2. So it's very painful. It's very, very painful. My brother and friend and colleague died a painful death. I wish him, may the good Lord keep him in the Abraham bosom. But one thing I noticed it, our road is single road. If this road is going to be something double road, I think sometimes the way our bus driver was dodging this tanker driver, because the tanker driver misses road, he loses control. So our bus driver, that's Musa, was trying to dodge.
Behind me is the U-turn bus that was involved in the crash being towed away. Even as it is towed away, some residents and colleagues of the people who died in that crash cannot control their emotions here.
One of the people who died in the crash, Clement Ejapon, worked with Babs Transport. Emmanuel Ejipon is the secretary of the company. He says dual carriageways or divided highways save lives.
You know, the road should just be, dual carriage. The Accra Cape Coast Road should be made or should be dual carriage. That is all we want for now. That is exactly what we want. Because, you know, I can't just leave home to feed home and all this happens to me. So our plea to the government is that road, the Accra Cape Coast or Accra to, Accra Cape Coast Road should be dual carriage.
Here at the accident and emergency ward at the Buneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital, family members of some of the persons affected by the crash are gathered here, waiting with bated breath for them to be discharged. But right here in the waiting area, you can hear occasional screams of pain as the health personnel here treats the victims of some of them, we're told, have a femur fracture, some of them dislocation of their shoulders, some of them they have dislocation of their hips, some of them have deep lacerations, deep cuts on their faces and other parts of their body.
It's a lot of pain.
She had agreed to speak to us earlier, but in this state, I don't know if she will still want to talk to us.
I really remember because I was sleeping. I only saw myself almost on the corner. But people were just stepping on me.
People were stepping on you?
Yeah, people stepping on me because I was sleeping. So I told myself, the whole are close. But when they come on, man, I know that I was accident.
Binta survived the crash. She says she was asleep when it happened.
I was sitting 2 seats after the driver.
You were sitting 2 seats after
the driver? 2 seats after the driver. So I almost fell asleep. I was sleeping. So the bus and the tanker just met face to face. And I just heard the noise. I stand up. When I stand up, I watched. I said, Jesus, accident, I'm dying. So like I came down the bus because one of the side of the bus finished. So I came down, I began to shout, come and help us, come and help us. 6 people died at the same spot. About 3 men and 3 women died at the same spot.
You saw them?
Yeah, I saw them.
Ifutu MP and Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Marke says it is imperative that Ghanaians come together and prioritize the safety of our roads. He's urging the relevant authorities to conduct a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding the crash. He says this will allow for the identification and enforcement measures that will prevent similar incidents in the future.
Now, 5,000 children in the Galamsey district of the Upper East region have no school furniture. They sit under tree roots or sit on tree roots or even the ground to study. 12-year-old Haruna Karim, a student of St. Joseph's School in Kare, says the lack of basic infrastructure makes learning unappealing. Features editor Jojo Kobna has more in today's episode of Ghana's Schools of Shame.
My name is Martina, and the thing that worry in my school is that when the Chinese people always black, the board always shake, and when the master is writing, the hand always shake.
My name is Atua Hager. I am in front JHS1. Some are sitting outside, some are sitting in the floor, and some also are sitting in.
Martina and Hager, JHS2 students, speak for over 500 children at the St. Anthony School in Gbane, a community in the Galamsey district of the Upper East region. The children have tolerated the sounds of rock blasting and dust from the Shanji mining site for many years. The school was previously located where the mining site currently operates, but the children were relocated when gold was discovered close to their school land. But with time, the mining company started mining close to the school when it discovered more gold. The company built a 3-unit classroom block which currently accommodates the lower primary.
If rain also fall, the rain also is coming, so we always go to the next people's class.
While students at the JHS level study under a simple mud shed which has developed spiraling cracks like the spider web, or more appropriately, shattered glass. The blackboards have developed large cracks that can contain the feet of a 6-year-old, while the top edge of the blackboard is partly chopped off and jagged. Parts of the roof also badly ripped off. Some parts of the wall completely fallen, but the children risk their lives daily, all in the name of education. But that is not the only concern here. Atanga Janet, a student at the school, says challenges here are overwhelming.
Sometimes our teachers cannot even come because of they are not quarters in the school. And when they are not quarters, they will bring their motors in and out. And when they do not have money to buy fuel, they can't come. Or when rain falls, they can't also come to the school. So we want quarters for our teachers. And we do not have chairs. We do not have enough chairs. We do not have enough books. And we do not have enough classes. And we are...
Indeed, a basket full of challenges.
Some of us are sitting on stones. Some of us are also sitting on floors. And the chairs, when the stones are, the town is not floors. So when the stones are shaking the chairs, when you are writing, it disturbs the writing. And when
Azumateng Vida is part of a citizen group that has been demanding social accountability at the local level.
Because they need this place for their work, they decided to build another one for our students. So the elders showed them a land that is opposite here. So they finished building, but it was left with small. But about some few months ago, they stopped operating on the school and they were not working on it, and they've locked the place. There's a security there. Meanwhile, JSS from 1 to 3 were suffering with the sun.
A non-governmental organization specializing in education, School for Life, brought them together to address the needs of the school. Under its citizen-led action for educational accountability and responsiveness project, members of the citizens group have held a series of engagements with authorities at the District Education Office and the Galamsey District Assembly, but their needs are yet to be addressed.
We wrote letters to the elders around, the police, the assemblymen, the DC, and then the education directors.
Residents say the mining company promised them a new classroom block. Unfortunately, the project has delayed. The DC for Galamsey, Thomas Duanab Winnie Pearson, says he will follow up on it.
Corporate institutions would definitely have corporate social responsibility. I have been engaged with them. From afar, that block to the left is almost completed. But I was told they want to equip it with modern gadgets. They want to put laptops in. I don't know whether in every classroom, every student, people would have a laptop or whatever. But they said they are building a high standard school. I'll re-engage them. Yeah, I would have to push them hard. Yeah. So the PRO is out of town. When he comes, I'll ask them the stage of the school and whether they can allow the kids in before the rains begin.
Further delays mean the children will miss school during the rainy season. Still in Galamsey, the St. Joseph School in Kare, built in 1951, sits in ruins. Aside the deep cracks in the school building, strong winds have ripped off the roofs of the building. The children have now been forced to study under trees. Harina Karim takes us on a tour of his former classroom.
Come with me and you see our school. This is my school, and something is not happy with me to see the school like this. The walls have cracked, and the teachers are scared that if they come in, the wall will break. So, or if teachers are even scared, all of the zincs and the walls are weak, and we don't like to see this school like this. Government should help us with this school. All the walls have cracked, and the doors have removed.
My name is Baba Fedos. Look at our school. Look at our nursery children. They are sitting on tree. They don't have any classroom to sit. They are sitting on the floor, no mat. They are sitting on there. They cannot learn.
The children sit on cement blocks, stones, roots of trees, and even on the ground. The Galamsey District Assembly has just started digging the ground for the construction of a school block. But how long will it take? The DC for Galamsey has some answers.
How soon is a matter of resources. Fortunately, we landed in the hands of a good friend, and he has accepted to build the school to completion before we find money to pay him. Yeah. We can't push him too hard, but we have told him the first phase should be up to roofing. And once it is roofed, we think they can start using it whilst they do the finishing up. So we've given him between 1 and 2 months.
The district is confronted with a huge furniture deficit, and the district director of education confirms the challenges within her jurisdiction are enormous.
My name is Christiana Azora Ayenzoya. Furniture is also an issue. We don't have enough furniture. It's inadequate. You get to a school, dual desks, you may have just 8 or 7 the whole school. And the children sit crowded. Some lower primary, you see them, they are just lying on the bare floor. No furniture for them. I think last year I got about 500 dual desks, 300 from assembly and 200 from central government that we distributed to the schools. I guess that is not enough. I think the furniture deficit is about 5,000.
The children in Galamsey are crying to the central government to provide them basic education facilities to stimulate learning. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
Now, some schoolgirls say they are hopeful of a positive response from the Health Ministry on the total removal of taxes on sanitary pads. Speaking to Joy News during a peaceful march through some streets in Accra, the girls narrated how they sometimes have to stay away from class during that time of the month because they do not have enough sanitary pads. Hannah Odame reports.
The day that I did not have a pad, I stayed home and used rag, and the class said we want to write. My best subject is science, so it affected me.
Nima Mohammed is one of the many girls who tear up when their menstrual cycle begins. It's not much about the pain associated with the monthly flow. For her, it is missing her favorite lesson because her pads run out by the second day due to the heavy flow. With no funds to purchase new ones, she resorts to using products which makes her uncomfortable to attend school. According to the CSO's platform on SDGs, Nima could have afforded the quality of sanitary pads she needs every month if the taxes on the commodity was not that exorbitant.
There is 20% import duty, there is 15% VAT on it, and then additionally there is the ECOWAS levy, there is AU levy, there is EXIM levy, there is processing fee, there is special tax on all of this. So when you put all of them together, there are about 14 different taxes in all that are on the pad, which is too much.
Fidel Yakubu wants the taxes completely removed or the product made free so that she and her friends do not have to worry anytime their cycle is due.
Last month, when I was finishing my menstruation period, my mother was unable to buy a pad for me, so I stayed home. And because of the shame, I was in the room. I was unable to get out. Pleasing all the government that they should reduce the taxes on the sanitary pad.
After marching from the Ifwa Sutherland Children's Park to Parliament House, a student, Latifa Abdul, read the petition on behalf of the group.
Kenya has cancelled taxes on sanitary pads as far back as 2004 and has been investing in free sanitary pads distribution to low-income communities. Rwanda and South Africa have also removed taxes on sanitary pads. Now is the time for Ghana to join its peers in protecting, guaranteeing, and upholding the fundamental rights of her adolescent young women and girls.
Head of Communication at the Health Ministry, who received the petition, assured the Gender and Finance Ministries will deliberate on the issues raised and resolve their concerns.
Management of the Ministry of Health will expedite consideration into this, and I will report to you as soon as possible.
Let's all help to end period poverty. This is News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. We will be coming back shortly with business news. To stay.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Techiman Area Office of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, in the Bono East region has been able to mobilize a total of 11.3 million Ghana cedis from the company's mass revenue mobilization exercise, which kick-started in April this year. The exercise, which was aimed at retrieving all monies owed by power consumers in NEDCO's catchment area, according to the Techiman Area Manager, John Tahiri, has been largely successful. He's been speaking with my colleague Anna Sabit in this report.
The revenue mobilization exercise, which started in April this year, was said to help retrieve all monies owed by both major and minor consumers across NEDCO's catchment area. Even though the target at the start of this exercise was 65 million Ghana cedis, the company within this period managed to retrieve some 11 million Ghana cedis, representing 17% of the total debt owed by power users within the Techiman area. Area Manager John Tyree described the exercise as successful, considering the fact that it is the first time in a year the company has exceeded its monthly billed revenue.
The 1 month exercise has been very beneficial to NEDCO as an organization. And you know, from the beginning, we told you in Techiman area we had about 106 million to collect. We intended collecting not less than 65 million. That was our target. As we speak, we couldn't do up to 65 million, but we did 11.3 million. Percentage-wise, that's about 17% of our debt that is owed us, you know. So we have done well. For the first time in about a year, this is the only time we have exceeded our monthly billed revenue. So in a month, we are billing between 6 and 8 million. But this month, since we started the revenue mobilization exercise, we have recovered 11.3 million. So that is in excess of 100%.
Mr. John Tyree disclosed that the exercise has not only improved the company's revenue, but also provided the company with the opportunity to establish some relationships with its consumers, and added that the only difficulty they faced is some few resistance from some state-owned enterprises, particularly hospitals within the area.
By and large, it has been good. We have had a lot of good faith from our customers who were indebted, and they have been cooperative, they have been supportive, they have, opened up to us. The only area where we had a little of difficulties are the SMEs, the state-owned enterprises. They had a few challenges, especially the hospitals, where they thought that we did not have any right to disconnect power to the facilities. The message that was sent has been positive. At least there has been engagements, and stakeholders are looking at how payments of utilities will be done in the various facilities now.
The exercise also provided NEDCO the opportunity to discover some flaws in the system, and this includes some illegal connections as well as zero consumption consumers.
We met some illegal connections. We have billed them. Some have come to pay. Others are negotiating with us to be able to pay part and pay the rest later. It also gave us the opportunity to detect those meters that were either under consuming or consuming zero, and it has provided us the opportunity to strategize and go back to change those meters in order to get the proper readings. This will go a long way to reduce our losses in the system, and by and large it has been very positive, and we are quite pleased with the outcome.
NEDCO has since become more proactive, and the institution is taking swift measures capable of ensuring that consumers who owe will settle their indebtedness. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
Now, telecom firms are ramping up campaigns to encourage more subscribers to re-register their SIM cards. Most of the operators have been sending text messages to their subscribers, as well as changing caller tunes to the announcement that subscribers could lose their numbers if they fail to re-register. Meanwhile, Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, Selim Adadivo, is worried that a lot more subscribers are not heeding to the call. He spoke at the telecom giant's annual general meeting here in Accra.
Customers and intensify our activities in the field to try to get people to register. But the main concern is the apathy and perhaps the lack of responsiveness of customers, despite a lot of effort to get people to come to register. We saw a lot of our stores and service centers quite busy yesterday with a lot of queues. And the question is, why does it take to the last few days before people respond? And that's the main concern. But, as a business, we're committed. We understand and support the National SIM Registration Program. And we've put a lot of resources behind the team to try to ensure that we get everyone registered to the extent possible. But we need customers to do their part. And between now and the deadline, if you have not registered a SIM, please go to one of our service centers or one of our partners and do that. You only have till end of day tomorrow. Thank you.
That's it for business. The news continues after this break.
Let me take you to Obuasi now, where calm has been restored to that community. You may be aware of that story involving the invasion of one of the concessions of Anglo Gold Ashanti, an underground tunnel by illegal miners. We understand that some of them were arrested and sent to the police station, but there was a standoff between residents there and some security personnel who were there to maintain law and order. Ohiming Teria is there for us. Hello, Ohiming. How exactly did the team that was sent, the reinforced police military team, manage to restore calm and order in Obuasi? Hello, Ohiming. If you can hear me, I was asking how the reinforcement team made up of military and police personnel managed to restore calm and order in Obuasi. Ohiming, can you hear me? Ohiming? Well.
Na mama amansenyi na ati. Yaframe Gado Tahiru. Me a small scale miner and also executive member of the leadership. Nokre, but nokre so eka. They were not trapped willingly. And omuko hose omuko pe omanu aduane abeti. Na unfortunately no, on their part no, baby omofa room no. Me say mine no so leadership no ehuye. Enna omukọ sili ho, omukọ kata baby omofa room no ano. That's just they can no go back where they went through. That's just there's the only alternative way umuwoye so omasa pass it through the mine tunnel inside the mine. And also obviously impossible. Upia not just a wahane over to the mine security. So this led to the public hearing. Say yanko for call juma by 2-3 days umunti mimba ya kokata baby omo pass it through no. Na say movie to whoever matter for the public to help. And I say DC Obuasi yo dia at the moment. The na intervene police commander as you say regional from Bakwai. Ebaye commander over her Anyaba intense security. Na say mine so invited support unit from the military. Eba augmented the omuwa already. Nti anra no na anya fedi agrokra na a very serious day and very critical moment. But as you say police they acted professionally very well. I mean up to today. So also by a what there say obi ahwere nkwa minti bi. And as you say, if not all, because Juma we mpese maye so confidential and maye so.
So you heard an executive of the Small Scale Miners Association bringing some clarity to that incident in Obuasi. So he's saying that these miners were not trapped. The initial communication was that they were trapped. He has clarified that. He also commended the police's professionalism in handling the matter. We'll bring you much more on this in subsequent bulletins. So Himingteria is still in Obuasi for us, and we will be bringing you the very latest during the midday news. But thanks for your company. I'm Bernice Abubeidu Lansa. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Now, so you see the Supreme Court strikes out law that allowed government to impose restrictions during COVID-19 pandemic. And also the Supreme Court has ruled that letter asking Daniel Domolovo to proceed on leave is unconstitutional. You want to visit myjoyonline.com for more on that. Take care.